Hi everyone. I am Sai, I am the Public Relations Head at Aatman. Let us wait till some people join. So, those who are new to Aatman is an organization that focuses on spreading accurate information about mental health awareness. And we want to create a safe space for teenagers where they feel heard, empowered, valued, and understood. We have also collaborated with Radio Vishwas, and the radio part focuses on adults, and it will be coming soon. So today our guest is Anoushka Jolie. She has won Pradhan Mantri Rashtriya Baal Puraskar for her remarkable compassion and dedication towards her app Kavach, which focuses and spreads awareness against bullying. She is also the founder of Inner Arc Block Tech, a mental health startup. And she is also the youngest participant and winner on Shark Tank India, where she received funding for her app. So, Anushka, please join us. Just a second, it's loading. Hi.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much for that. Though.
So, good evening, Anushka. We are so excited to have you with us today.
Thank you so much. It's so lovely. And just, I'm so glad that we were able to actually live instead of just do a reel and stuff. It's nice to be able to talk to you.
Start by saying that we are all so incredibly impressed with the work you have done so far. It's really commendable
Thank,
at such a young age, especially.
thank you so much.
And thank you so much for, you know, giving your role in making the world a better and a kinder place. It's really a big deal.
Thank,
Okay. Should we start?
definitely.
What inspired, start a anti-bullying squad?
So, I actually went through bullying myself when I was, um, I think, in third grade, when I was 8 years old. And this bullying, it started off with like my friends who I thought were my closest friends. They started leaving me out. They started just making me feel excluded. Then they started also just saying mean things, and they started making fun of me or my skin, my curly hair, all of that. And it just made me feel really terrible about myself. And after a series of like ruthless verbal relational bullying, I just decided that I'd had enough, and it really, really kind of broke me as a person as well. I didn't know what exactly I would do about it. And soon enough, after that, I talked to my parents about what was going on, because luckily I always had parents who made me feel like it was okay to just discuss everything that was going on in my life, and they helped me overcome it. And then finally, when I was just thinking about it, I just realized that I am still extremely privileged, and I, being a person, and I come from a specific type of family, an understanding family, and I have that access to knowledge and resources, and other people don't have that kind of access. So I started like doing a lot of research about bullying, and I just found a lot of these organizations. I found a lot of information about bullying from the perspective of like parents, students, victims, bystanders. And then I was very fond of writing, so I collated all of it in the form of blogs, poems, and all that. And I just made a little blog website and put it up there. And from there, it sort of took off, and that's how I started What Inspired Me.
Okay, that's really nice. It's really nice to have such supporting parents, especially. It helps a lot.
Yeah, certainly.
So I would like to ask that how exactly does your organization work? How you help people?
Well, there are different ways. So, if I just explain my journey, it started off with me taking sessions. I go to schools and I talk to school students about bullying, and mental health. And these can be online or offline, whatever is the preference. And I also have an online program on bullying that goes into, it's called Bullying Deep Dive. So, it just kind of takes a deep dive and goes into more detail of bullying. It's a 1 hour course and anybody can take it. So that's apart from my sessions. And then I have done obviously seminars and I've collaborated with a ton of NGOs. I recently, actually last summer, collaborated with Bramble Network. They're based out of Nigeria and Africa. And through collaborating with them, I was able to talk to underprivileged kids in Nigeria about anti-bullying and mental health. And then lastly, I created an app called Kavach, which I went on Shark Tank India for. That's a bullying reporting mechanism. And right now I'm working on a second version of that app that is Kavach 2.0, which is a holistic mental health solution, as I like to call it.
Okay, that's really nice. And my next question is, when you were bullied, you said that you have had personal experiences. So when you were bullied, did it change you as a person? Did it lower your confidence or self-esteem or
So,
affect
hmm,
mental health?
definitely, yes. And that's such a relevant and important question because a lot of people don't understand what a victim goes through when they experience bullying. So it started off very small. Like obviously I would hear these very demeaning things every single day. So it took a toll on my self-esteem and how I viewed myself. That was a temporary effect of the bullying that I faced. And then soon enough it also started shaping very differently how I see other people and how I treated other people, because I started kind of getting that negativity myself and understanding that okay, is this how you treat people? And I may have been unintentionally or with the lack of correct knowledge may have acted like that with other people as well, because bullying is like a cycle. So if somebody does that to you, you are very much likely to do that to someone else. So I may have also been rude or been disrespectful to someone else, but that's temporary. After I would say I got out of it, it just made me an even more confident person, because just knowing when I'm at low moments in my life, I reflect back on the bullying that I faced, and I try to kind of com- compare and contrast these two personas that have been formed before and after I faced the bullying. So I think that if I feel bad about myself, what would have that 8-year-old girl who was getting bullied, what would she think? You know, and it kind of gives me a lot of confidence in that sense. And I think as much as the bullying hurt me and maybe even lowered my self confidence and gave me a few scars, it did overall just make me a stronger person, only because I was able to kind of take the good out of it and create something bigger and better.
Hmm. Okay. And as you said that your parents were like really supportive towards your cause. So I would like to ask that did your personal experience bring you closer to your parents, family, your peers? How did it affect your personal relationships?
It definitely brought me closer to my parents. Just because it was a difficult moment, and when you share difficult moments with your loved ones, it obviously brings you closer. And well, I was getting bullied by my friends, so naturally I distanced myself from those individuals. And it's safe to say that it's taught me a lot about the right kind of friends to make and the right kind, what friendship actually is. And now the kind of people that I'm friends with, um, they actually value and respect me, and I feel like myself around them. And like anybody I'm friends with, I I genuinely surround myself with people that make me feel happy. And if somebody like disrespects me or makes me feel less than, then it's a natural response to just cut them off. So it is kind of influenced not only my relationships, but also the way I look at relationships and how I treat other people in my life.
Hmm. So basically, choosing your surrounding affects you the most.
Yeah, definitely.
So, children or peers or individuals who are bullied, how do they get affected? Like their concentration, their educational lives, their personal lives. What is the main effect? Like, what qualities do they exhibit?
So, well, starting off, it obviously takes a toll on your academics, because what happens is when you're getting bullied, you can only focus on the bullying. So you're constantly thinking about either what's going to happen, you have that fear, or what has already happened. You're reliving the trauma in some way. So you're never really able to focus on things that make you happy or things that you're supposed to focus on. Let's say academics, or maybe something that you enjoyed before, like a hobby. So you kind of lose interest in things that you had enjoyed before, and that's why it kind of leads to a greater chance of depression, anxiety. And because you're constantly scared and you're constantly uncertain about what's going to happen, and you're not doing things that bring you happiness. And a lot of bullying could also lead to trust issues, could lead to difficulty making friends. You could you you always have that sense of like fear that you will be betrayed and bullied by a person you get close to. And then also, again, depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder could be the serious symptoms. But I think the most serious and the most catastrophic and the saddest consequences definitely when kids actually suicide because of bullying. And there are so many cases. There are probably millions of cases every single day, that can be linked to bullying. There are school shootings that are linked to bullying. So a lot of this trauma, people don't realize it gets pent up slowly, 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 and then it leads to like catastrophic consequences. And it hurts not only you, but you also end up hurting the people around you. So it's kind of like a systemic problem. It's become a systemic problem, I would say.
So basically, this problem needs to be addressed by the people that you're surrounded by, right? So how can educators or schools help children who are going through this?
So, well, it is the bare minimum to firstly just recognize the kind of power you have in the situation. So that starts off with the general responsibility you have towards creating a safe environment in your school, right? Where kids feel just generally comfortable. And of course, I think it is inevitable that there will be problems in your school if there's a bunch of kids huddled up together. Yeah, there will be problems. But that is always secondary, because if your school environment is such where you know where it's a kind, respectful, and empathetic environment, the issues or the likelihood of those issues arising would certainly decrease by a ton, right? So first, creating that environment and just making sure students feel comfortable and happy. Okay, and that can just be simply by talking to the students and just by asking us the students how they feel, uh, through sending a form, or maybe just one-on-one conversations and one-on-one feedback with these students. Because I simply don't understand why educators and schools don't just approach their students directly and ask them, what problems are you facing and how can I help? Because they can tell you best. They're the ones facing the problems in the first place. Um, that's more of a precautionary angle to it. But when we're talking about if there has been a bullying incident in your school, how do you deal with that? Well, first and foremost, you need to have an established system. So if a victim is experiencing bullying or someone sees bullying happening, they know exactly what to do and who to approach in the situation. Like they know if they get bullied, they can talk to the counselor and the counselor can take it forward. And this again, what I was working on, Kavach, the app, it is kind of like what this is the problem I was trying to solve. Like the gap that exists between victims and bystanders and students that are getting bullied and actual authorities in school who are unaware of what's going on in their school. So just there needs to be a way for the school to bridge the gap and be aware of the incidents and just have qualified personnel to deal with the problems. That is literally all you need, in my opinion.
Yeah. So many a times, even if the problem has been addressed in the schools or by their counselors, parents, they don't agree to address it as a problem. They ignore it or they let it go. So how should parents or caregivers mold themselves, or have they molded? Is there any change in that?
Um, well, I just say this repeatedly because I think parents play the most important role. They are the most important people in a child.
Finding the child may suffer the most.
Absolutely. And like, and even a school doesn't have as much responsibility as a parent, I would say. Even if, let's say, I go to a school where I am surrounded by a certain peer group that maybe are into like negative things, maybe they're all into substances, but my upbringing has been such that I've been taught like never to get into all of that because I know of the negative health impacts. Then I would still be restricted and I would still never succumb to the peer pressure and become like them. So the kind of power that you're molding and you're shaping your childhood and parenting has is unmatched. So I think most of all, parents should just know about bullying and how to talk to their kids about it, you know. And it should start from a very early age. You need to like start introducing it to your kid when he is maybe like 6 7. I think that's the ideal age. You start with being mean. You touch on certain topics. You touch on how would you feel if somebody was being mean to you. Then you talk about kindness. You start introducing these topics and just generally just give a sense of what it is to be a good person to that child. That because morality obviously will stop bullying. If a child has a strong sense of morals, they will never engage in such behavior. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's, and then of course that's precautionary. If your child is getting bullied, it would be a different situation. um, a lot of parents, what they do, either they completely ignore what's going on or they overcompensate and try to solve the problem for themselves. But in my professional and personal experience, none of those things help. What you need to do is enable your child to solve the problem themselves. So first you can't be on one end, you can't completely disregard the problem's existence. Like it is a problem. Your child is getting bullied, right? But what are you going to do about it? You're not going to go and talk to the bully yourself or talk to the teacher yourself. You need to enable the child to first either like stand up for themselves if there is a way to do that, or even better than that, just report it and talk to a teacher themselves, because that action and that strength needs to come from the person who is bullied. They need to feel what happens during bullying. You feel a loss of control and power in the situation, so you need to give your child power, right? If you take the action yourself, you are snatching the power away from them and you're further damaging their self-esteem. So I would say, first, obviously, raise your child right. Second, encourage them to stand for themselves and enable them. That's
So basically, the parents should empower the child to face such problems.
Yes.
If a child is being bullied, so are there any resources or places that they can use or utilize?
Well,
Any trusted resources?
indefinitely. So if you're getting bullied in a school, then your counselor, your teacher is your first point of contact. Your parent is your first point of contact. I would say turn to your support system and your closest support system, whether it's a trusted adult, a friend, a parent, or a teacher or a counselor. And if that doesn't work, then there are countless helpline numbers, government helpline numbers that you can reach that are like verified sources, and they can help you. Especially 112 is the cybersecurity. So if you're, let's say, facing a cyberbullying problem, you can reach out to that number and they will help you um, sort that out.
So I would love to ask that what would you recommend or what would you tell such people who have gone through this, who are going through this, and who have been affected heavily because of bullying in their lives?
Well, I would tell them that I think it's time to like regain your confidence, because what I think the most effective method to get out of bullying is that if you can stand up for yourself and make it clear to the bully that you've had enough. And the way to do that is to obviously gain confidence, right? Because if you're confident in yourself, nobody will ever make nobody will ever have the ability to make you feel like you aren't, because you know that you are, right? And that ideology works in not just bullying, in every other situation, even if it's not bullying. Okay, let's say someone is just generally being disrespectful. If they know you are confident, first of all, it wouldn't affect you. And second of all, they would also sense that and they would back off. I just feel like confidence is such an important power. And if you learn to just, then there are so many tools online, some advice that you can take. My biggest advice would be to build your confidence. You need to do things that make you feel like you are confident. So you need to do hard things, like why should you be confident in yourself? So you need to kind of fill in the blank there, and you need to be able to reflect back on things and instances in your life where you have been confident, right? Because when you overcome a challenge, you know you can do it, and that builds confidence. So I would say, like, let these naysayers say whatever they want, and you focus on yourself and building your skills and gaining your confidence. And I think then all of this will seem insignificant.
Yeah, okay. So your very thoughtful answers has have given us a very deep idea about the incredible work you do and how you're working on such a great cause and helping so many people out there.
Like,
So now I would love to ask you some short questions and you would have to answer them rapidly. So are you ready?
yes.
First question is, did you feel supported throughout your journey?
Yes. Supportive.
How do you feel now about it?
Extremely supportive.
What is the prevalence of bullying in Indian
It's
schools?
extremely common, mostly verbal and physical bullying.
Are parents dismissive?
Yes.
Are schools cooperative, like in this area especially?
Totally, yes. I think they really realize it's a problem, at least nowadays.
Are parents, is the awareness increasing now, like day by
Yes,
day?
immensely.
Is support essential through this journey?
Yes, of course. You can't overcome bullying if you don't have a strong support system.
Yes. Are bullies misunderstood many times, like for the way they act? Are they misunderstood?
Yes, I would say
Are bystanders
bystanders are actually like um, essential to the situation, because majority of bullying happens in the presence of bystanders, because the bully wants to prove their power to them. So that's like the main cause of bullying.
Okay. Do you collaborate with experts?
Yes, psychologists.
Okay, that's nice. Is bullying traumatic?
Immensely. Yeah.
Generally, in parents, educators, and peers lacking.
Is what? Empathy. Yeah. Not um not to generalize it, but I think the empathy is increasing day by day.
That's nice to hear. Where do you see your app in next 5 years?
Short answer, it changing the lives of every kid.
Yeah, we hope so too. And how are you making use of Shark Tank funds?
Well, I use it to create my app and get my app out there.
How can all of us watching this help others who are going through this?
Well, I think the most important is be there for the person, listen to the person, and encourage the person to take action and overcome the bullying.
Okay. So it was really great to talking to you. We really got a very clear idea of what is going on and how the awareness is increasing. It is a positive change. And thank you for all the work you have done. So there's a question that should a parent start should a parent start bullying their child's bully, or ask their child to bully the bully back?
Um, I would say bully the bully back is a completely wrong idea. At least for me, it never worked because it makes you a bully as well. I would say every situation calls for a different response. So, of course, being assertive and sometimes even being aggressive is important, but don't bully them back. I mean, and of course, the parent shouldn't ever interfere in a situation like this. The child should themselves gain their confidence and go back to the bully and kind of assert their right and say that they're not okay with it, but don't bully them back. I mean, do it in a civil manner.
Oh, so I think, is there anything you want to tell us personally? How was your how was it talking with us? Thank you, and thank you so much for collaborating with us again. It was really great talking to you.
I know it was really, and I loved the questions. They were all really nice and just lovely talk. And I'm really looking forward to more in the future.
So there is one more question. How to handle being bullied by a parent or a teacher or any adult?
This is a toughie because I think when you're bullied by an adult, it kind of shakes your sense of trust because they are the people you rely on. But then you're being bullied by a teacher, there's always a parent to make up for that. Or if you're, for example, being abused by a parent, there are always resources available online, helpline numbers, or just friends or people that can help you. So don't lose faith in all adults or all people if maybe one adult is kind of bullying you, because there are always other people who will believe you and who will help you take it forward. So I don't think that do think it's generally harder when you're getting bullied by an adult because you're kind of raising questions on somebody who's elder than you, right? So it's more difficult. But as long as you have the right support system, if you have parents that will listen to you, if you have maybe evidence as well as to what is going on, you have your facts correct, and you have your you know like who to talk to exactly, then it won't be a problem. And I think you would treat it like any other situation.
Yeah. So we'll address if there are any more questions. But again, thank you so much for taking out time to share your experience, to give us knowledge, and we are really grateful.
Thank you.
So I think if there aren't any further questions, we'll end the live.
All right. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you so much.